There is a place on Earth where you can stand in complete silence and drink from a river that hasn't flowed for 110 million years, not metaphorically. Literally, Gadoufaoua, Niger, the Ténéré Desert. The ground beneath your feet was once a wetland so alive that the humidity alone would have felt suffocating. Now it's 1,000 kilometers of sand in every direction. But here's the thing, you can still taste the difference. The humidity in the air when you close your eyes. The weight of water that was. And if you stand very still, if you really listen, you might feel it, thirst and plenty at the exact same coordinates, separated only by time. Water that flowed here when dinosaurs still walked the earth, when the green was endless. The early Cretaceous Elrhaz Formation is a 125 million-year-old river delta hidden in what is now the Ténéré Desert of Niger. That's 25 million years before the asteroid. This wasn't some backwater. It was a river system so vast it makes the Amazon look local. The paleontologists call it a floodplain, but that word doesn't capture it. What it actually means, endless green, reads tall enough to hide a giraffe. Water so shallow you could wade through it for weeks and never go over your head, but so vast you'd never see the other side. The distance from where the river flowed to where the sand begins now, that's roughly the distance from New York City to Denver. And it was all water, all green, all alive. Cretaceous was the apex predator of this river, 40 feet long. That's a school bus lying end to end. But here's what matters, it was carnivorous, armored, and it lived in water that was shallow, not the deep ocean predator of later eras. A patient hunter in green water waiting for something smaller to come drink. It would have had to wait a long time between meals. The river was so thick with life there was competition everywhere. And what was it competing for? Nigersaurus. A dinosaur with a mouth like a lawn mower, not an exaggeration, hundreds of tiny teeth designed to strip leaves at ground level the way a goat eats grass. It only exists because the food was right there, ground level, endless. That mouth design doesn't work in a desert. It only works when you're surrounded by green. Nigersaurus is basically proof that this place was a garden large enough to sustain herds of dinosaurs the size of elephants. And then something changed. Not overnight, but in geological terms fast. The climate shifted. The monsoons that had fed this system for millions of years just stopped coming. The rains went away. The water table dropped. The shallow rivers started to shrink. The green started to retreat. The animals that had been drinking from this abundance for generations suddenly found themselves standing in mud. Then dust. It wasn't catastrophic extinction. It was worse, abandonment. The green was leaving and they could only follow or die. Gadoufaoua is a name in the Tuareg language. It means spring of fear, but they named it that after the springs were already gone. After what had been a thriving river system for millions of years had just stopped. The name is a memory of absence, a place marked by what was taken from it. When paleontologists first found the formation, they found the evidence of that loss. Fossils of crocodiles that had dried out in the mud they depended on. Bones of herbivores that had starved because the vegetation had died. The geological record is a graveyard of a transformation that no creature saw coming. The Ténéré is one of the driest places on Earth today. In some regions, there isn't a single living plant for 1,000 square kilometers. The silence isn't an absence of sound, it's a presence, a pressure. The dust rises sometimes and you can see for miles in every direction, and that is the only thing you will ever see. The sand is pink in some places, golden in others, completely white where you're standing. And that's it, no variation, no life, no story written in the landscape except the story of why nothing grows here. It's the kind of place that makes you hyper-aware of being alive, of breathing, of your body needing water. It's the kind of place that whispers what it means to thirst. But here's what moves you once you know the history. The animals that lived here didn't vanish into myth. They vanished into silence. They were real. Cretaceous didn't go extinct because it was weak or badly designed. It went extinct because its river disappeared. Nigersaurus didn't fail as a creature. It failed because the green that sustained it was gone. And every fossil you hold, every bone in a museum, every tooth, every trace is testimony to this. The green was here. The river ran, the animals drank, the humidity hung in the air, and then it didn't. The switch flipped. One geological moment, everything that depended on that water had to leave or die. The river dried up in what, in terms of an individual animal's lifetime, was like sunrise to sunset. Gone. When you stand in the Ténéré at Gadoufaoua and you know what this place was, you're standing on ground that used to hum, not metaphorically. Insects, birdsong, water sounds, the calls of animals at a watering hole, wet air in your lungs, humidity thick enough to feel, and now you hear nothing, not even wind most days, just silence. And the strange thing is, that makes you grieve something that ended 110 million years ago as if it ended last week, as if it ended yesterday, because grief doesn't care about the scale of time. Grief is just the moment you realize this was real, it was alive, and now it isn't. The green is gone, the river is gone, the animals are fossils, and everything you've learned about this place means you'll never stand on the green version of it. Only the version that remembers being green. And that asymmetry, knowing what was and standing in what is, that's what doesn't leave you. We are standing at our own threshold. That place, the Elrhaz Formation, the rivers of Cretaceous Africa, it was a world that seemed infinite to the things that lived in it. Infinite green, infinite water, infinite plenty, and then by the standards of a human lifetime it transformed into silence, not extinct, transformed. The river didn't disappear because of an asteroid or a volcano, it disappeared because the climate shifted, the weather patterns changed, the rains came less, the temperatures rose, and one day the green became brown, became gold, became sand. And that's the question that sits with you once you know, somewhere on Earth right now the green is still here. The water still flows. In the Amazon, in the Congo, in the rivers of Southeast Asia. Something living there right now in this very moment assumes it always will, assumes this green is infinite, assumes it will be here forever, the way the animals of Cretaceous Africa assumed their river would flow forever. And we know better now, don't we? We can see what happens when the climate shifts, when the rains stop, when the green becomes silence. We have the fossil record, we have Gadoufaoua, we have 10,000 other places where the green was and the sand is. And the question that stays with you, the one that doesn't leave even when you close the video, is this. If someone had stood at Gadoufaoua 110 million years ago, while the river flowed and the humidity hung thick, and we showed them what it becomes, showed them the Ténéré, showed them the 1,000 kilometers of silence, would they have changed anything? Would they have been able to? Is transformation just what happens to green places? Is the river always temporary? Does abundance always end in silence? The dust doesn't answer these questions, the ground doesn't answer, and maybe that's the point. Maybe the not knowing is the only honest place to stand.